Hello, and welcome back to Modern Masterpieces, a series where we examine the best and most important tracks of the last decade and discuss what exactly elevates them to such a high standard. And I'm super excited to talk about what was probably my favourite track of 2021, but wait, Superstar came out in 2021 as well? Okay, well, I'm super excited to talk about what was probably my second favourite track of 2021. But I do want to start this episode by posing a question to you, the audience. And that question is, what's the best book you've ever read? I know that's not an easy question for most people to answer, and I also know that reading is only for nerds and that I should have asked about movies instead. And, well, you can answer that question as well, I guess, as long as you're coming up with an answer that means a lot to you. But for me, and in regards to the song I'll be discussing today, the distinction between book and movie feels like an important one. Where movies can provide you with a story that excites you far more than a book ever could, novels are designed for calm, slow burns. The emotions can be just as fierce, but over a significantly longer period of time. And I think that's the difference that is really illustrated, ironically, in this third medium that I didn't mention: music. For what it's worth, if you're still thinking about your favourite book or movie, I don't think I really have a straight answer either. It's a complicated question, and depends entirely upon the perspective I'm coming from. I'll put some books I've read recently and enjoyed on the screen now, but ultimately I think my real answer is that my favourite book hasn't been written yet. And that's because the author decided to be a talented singer-songwriter instead of a novelist. It feels like we've really seen an explosion of talented female singer-songwriters over the last 5 years at the very least. Maybe that's just my recency bias showing, I don't know. The evolution has certainly gone from white guy with the guitar music to white woman with the guitar music, and I can only say I'm happy about that change, and the fact that we decided to collectively bully Ed Sheeran and Jason Mraz for their work. But throughout that time, there's been one artist who really stuck out to me. One woman who, through her genuine human nature and beautiful understanding of songwriting, set herself above the rest, and showed herself as an artist who shouldn't just be remembered now, but as a modern songwriting great for years and years to come. Lucy Dacus, of course.
You said you have me there. If it's a triple dog dare, a triple dog dare, a triple.
You know, the first time I put on Dacus's third studio album, Home Video, I wasn't really sure what to expect. Look, my tolerance for singer-songwriter stuff tends to fluctuate a ton, especially when so much of it will just go over the same shtick without much to make it stand out. It's not like I went into Home Video expecting to dislike it, but I definitely had a certain level of skepticism about it. If you've heard and enjoyed Home Video, you'll probably know what I mean when I say that the thing that immediately pulled me into the project was how incredibly human she was. Dacus' songwriting doesn't come from a place of separation from the events described, nor does it come from a place of self-loathing or disgust. Instead, Dacus just seems open. Her story is applicable to anyone, and coming from a place of general decency. When asked about the songwriting choices on Triple Dog Dare, Dacus made two great observations that have really stuck with me. There's no such thing as non-fiction, and songwriting doesn't have to be reporting. It kind of reminds me of the opinion I've seen a few times from Mitski as well, who seems very insistent that her songs are more performative art pieces than deeply personal moments. Triple Dog Dare isn't exactly as separated from reality as that, but it does find a nice middle ground between real stories and tasteful embellishment. For example, the song is about a friend that she had in high school and how their relationship was complicated by Dacus' sexuality. However, they absolutely did not run away from home and die lost at sea. Nor did they exactly live happily ever after. It just kind of fizzled out, which would have made for quite an underwhelming ending. Also, it wouldn't really tell us a ton about Dacus' opinion on the matter. Imagine if the song did end at the second verse. Her friend's mum does some palm reading, realizes that this girl wants to fuck her daughter, and then that's it. That's the end of the story. To a certain level, I do want to see the world where that happens, since it would be absolutely hilarious to end this album with such an anticlimax. But we are given this fictional third verse, and it's ironically this verse where I feel like I learned the most about Lucy Dacus personally. You don't write this ideal narrative if you're happy with how things turned out, right? And in this story, the ending is really simple and idealistic. They meet up in secret, they confess to each other, and decide to run away together by stealing her parents' boat. Man, how nice would it be if that were really the case, right? But it wasn't the case, and that's what makes it so sad. The narrative is complete and happy and finished, and then reality hits and you realize that was only the potential that they had. And it's not like Dacus seems particularly cut up about it now. With her exploits with Boy Genius and her relatively successful music career, she seems to be having an okay time now, but god damn it, I as an audience member am still cut up. And therein lies the masterpiece aspect of this song, because it is just a great story. You are connected to these people and this narrative, and this bittersweet feeling of the track only works if the storytelling behind it is good enough. That's what I meant when I was talking about books earlier, because I do genuinely feel like the best stories make you feel like you've taken a piece of the characters with you after you've finished. It just so happens that, in this case, the character is also the author. It doesn't hurt that the song is also just immaculately produced. The intro, with its minimal instrumentation, serves to highlight Dacus' gorgeous vocals, and throughout the track you do notice a subtle build-up, synths and soaring chords building up perfectly to a gorgeous climax. Triple Dog Dare really does feel like an experience, man, and it's so good at capturing that storytime magic it's going for. Look, I never want to put words into an artist's mouth. Like I said earlier, Dacus seems perfectly okay now, and I'm sure she doesn't really have many regrets. My point is that she's an artist. She created Triple Dog Dare to be consumed with these emotions tied to it. When I use masterpiece to describe the songs in this series, it's not out of some arbitrary emotional connection I personally have with the track. It's mostly defined by two things: ambition and execution. And Triple Dog Dare? It's got both in excess. A true modern masterpiece.